In this lesson, we will speak about how you can use Azure Functions to run a PowerShell script triggered from flows. I'm going to make use of VS Code with a plugin for Azure Functions. So let's install this. And as soon as it is installed, then you will find here a new icon saying Azure. And you can see, you can search for the installed functions and you will find two things: Azure Functions, but also Azure Account and Azure Resources. Clicking on there, you'll find here a workspace, which we don't need for the moment. And the first thing that we like to do is to sign in to Azure. By clicking on that, you will be redirected to Azure to provide your credentials. So I'm going to log in here as an Azure administrator. And I'm signed in now. I can close this window. And here you can see now Azure subscription. That's the name of the subscription that I've got. And underneath in the folder, you'll find function app. And what we are going to do is we are going to create a function app. And we're going to give it a name, PS function demo. You have to select which language we're going to use. I'm going to use PowerShell. I'm going to run that on a Windows system. And you need to create a new resource group. Which needs to have a name. And press enter. The next thing you need to do is to select a location. I'm going to take West Europe. And I'm going to use the hosting plan, a consumption model. And we also need to create a new storage account, which you have to give a certain name. And I'm going to skip for now the last step. Down in the terminal, you can see now a few things happening. It's creating a function app. And once it is successful, they can view the output. And you can also find the function being created here in the tree. And on the workspace, what we need to do now is we need to create a function. There are some templates available. I'm going to use the HTTP trigger template. And you need to give it a name as well. I'm going to use anonymous for the authentication for that script. Select the local project. From there, create a new project. And now you browse to a location where you would like to store the script that you're going to run eventually. So you need to create a directory. And again, PowerShell as a language, the HTTP trigger. Let's call it PS HTTP1. Anonymous. I'm going to open that in current window. Here now you'll find a few things under the directory PSHTTP1. You will find the run.ps1 script, so the PowerShell script itself, which has already, because it's template, a few things in there that we can use to return a body later if we do the call. And if we now go and take a look at Azure itself, and you search for functions, function app, and you click on there, then you can find the PS function demo, the one that we have just created. And it has some details and things that you can find back here. Okay. If we now go to Azure into the workspace, then you'll see here functions with that new function that we have created, but we need to do a few things. For example, we need to deploy this. So deploy the function to function app. And we need to select a resource, which is a PS function demo that we've created. Then it's asking if we'd like to deploy this. You say deploy. And it's now deploying that function. And in the output of the console, we can see a few things. Once it's finished, then we see there deployment successful. Okay. It says now deployment completed. Now let's go to that function demo that we've opened up earlier on. And you can find there the PSHTTP1, which was empty before. And we can now click here on code plus test. And you can see the script here. And if you click on test run, then we can fill in a few things. But to start this from this console, we need to do a few things to trust, let's say, this call to that endpoint. If not, it will be blocked by Defender by default. You would not necessarily need to do this from flows, but I'm going to do that here in the console. I'm going to go back to course, and I'm going to allow the origin that I've just copied. Enable access control, save this. And now we can actually run the script from this interface. So going back to the function, in Defender here, we also we will now find that we will allow that script to run. Going back to code and test. If we now click on run and test, you'll see that that message is gone. So we can run it now. I'm going to change the body a little bit that I'm sending. I'm going to add a parameter here, name. I'm going to give it a key value pair name with Patrick. And if name, as you can see here, it will fill in the name. It will receive the name if you do the endpoint call. And it will return a body, which will be hello, the name that you gave, etc. So in a moment we'll use flows, but right now I'm going to execute this script from the Azure console, see if it's working and returning something, and here we go. You see a response of 200 and it's saying hello Patrick, this HTTP trigger function executed successfully. I'm going to copy the path here. I'm going to create a flow which I give a name PSHTTP1. I'm going to create an endpoint. I'm going to fill in the host name that I've just copied and set the base path and the path. I believe we need a post method. So let's take a look at what we've done before. Here the input, it was indeed post, so that's the method we need to define in flows as well. And in the mapping, I'm going to add a body parameter, or a body with some content in there, a JSON with the key name body, which I will leave empty, just like we've done in the console, and a key pair that I will call name, and I'll give it a value flows test. Okay, that looks good. Let's run this and see if we get a result back. flow saved, flow is running, finished. It has a failure, let's see why. It says the host was blocked. For the URL, I can see here that I forgot to remove the HTTP in front of the host name. Well, let's take that away and run it again. Completed running. It is successful now, okay. And now let's go to the response. And in response we can see the response back, hello, flows test, this is a HTTP triggered function executed successfully.